Hola a todos amigos de Match, ¿cómo están? Espero que estén pasando un rato agradable por aquí, disfrutando de sus artistas Match favoritos. El día de hoy me conecto con ustedes para presentarles, ya saben, proyectos, música nueva, cosas que vale la pena conocer, etcétera. El día de hoy estamos nada más y nada menos que con Benjamin Plant, la mente maestra detrás de uno de nuestros proyectos de synth pop favoritos desde 2009, 2008 más o menos, Miami Horror. Que pues bueno, para que se den una idea rápidamente, es un proyecto de synth pop que se gestó en Australia, que ha tenido pues una larga trayectoria y una gran conexión con nuestro país. Ellos sacaron por ahí 2008, 2009, un EP llamado Bravado, después sacaron Illumination, luego hicieron All Possible Futures y ahora traen un tercer disco que lleva por nombre We Always Had Tomorrow. We Always Had Tomorrow, una producción bastante sólida que refuerza el trabajo de Miami Horror con un sonido que nos encanta. Hi Ben, how you doing? Welcome to
Hi,
Match FM.
hi, how are you?
Fine. I'm so excited to talk with you today because we're talking to the Mexican audience about the work of Miami Horror. Um, One of my favorite bands, to be honest, since 2008, 2009, maybe with the release of the Bravado EP.
Oh,
Uh, I,
wow. Yeah.
I've been following your work since that day, and I'm so excited to talk with you today for the release of We Always Had Tomorrow. How do you feel with that?
Yeah, I'm super happy that we finally have it out. This album took like 5 years of work. So yeah, or spread across 5 years, but yeah, it's great to finally have it out, and especially for the Mexican audience who, were a big inspiration for it.
I'm so excited to talk with you today because we want to know how do you feel in this time of your life with this new album, because uh, the project has a natural evolution in their sound since the Illumination, then All Possible Future, that was a kind of sound a little bit quiet, if you want to compare it with the first album. And then We Always Had Tomorrow has a different vibe but the same energy. How do you feel with that? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I would say that there's something there that's really Miami horror in this new album. I think like at least for me, it feels very directly coming from that kind of seed of idea and everything. Like we always like to do kind of conceptual music and um in terms of having a theme over the whole album and stuff like that. And I would say that like All Possible Futures was a little bit more of like an experiment, with your sophomore album, everyone's always a little bit confused. So
Why?
it's just I think when you have to follow up something and when your first one was good and we really loved the first album and it did well, you have that challenge of like following that up. And so we also were changing the dynamic with the band, like people who were involved wanted to really like write their own songs and this and that. So we ended up having to include things that weren't in ways we wouldn't normally have done it the first album. So yeah, it's just been this transition along, and then finally I feel like we've kind of come back to the original spirit of the band, yeah, which
It
is
sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty good, to be honest. I love también, I love that kind of collaborations. I don't know how to name it because Miami Horror always was a project that mixed different voices. For example, Kimbra, Leopold, for example, Alan Palomo, for name.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I think like people sometimes kind of forgot that it started that way, like we were always collaborating. And I'm trying to think on the second album. Yeah, we still had collaborations, but it was kind of also a lot of songs that were done in-house. And yeah, I think like it was really great to bring back that more collaborative direction. And like when we have a particular song or when I start a particular song, it's usually with a vision in mind of like what kind of vocal we want or what will feel right. So it's just nice to follow that. You just follow the direction that you're feeling. It might not end up turning out the same way that you plan, but that's the beauty of having like a kind of produced project as opposed to a regular band. You can really make the music dynamic, kind of.
Yeah, and you can work with people of different places around the world,
Yeah.
thanks to internet, and that's
Yeah.
amazing.
We
And
actually, a lot of them were Australian. Nearly all of them were Australian on that
okay,
tour. Yeah.
okay,
Interesting.
and how it was that 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 work of producing songs, a new album, a whole new album. Uh, what was the challenge in this time with We Always Had Tomorrow?
There were a few challenges. I think like because I really, really wanted this to be this concept that I had, like to cover all of those human experiences from like childhood, teenagers, growing up, getting older, losing people, and then like so essentially the cycle of life, and then intertwine it with like the universe, and at the same time also intertwine it with these little interludes and these specific styles of songs. It was like quite a vision to try to actually execute. And I think the consequence of when you're doing that is you do have like these restrictions to work around. So like for example, like with a song like Remember, the disco-y one, once we had made that vocal, it was kind of like we didn't once we'd made that song, it's like you can't really go in a different direction because you've kind of finished that the disco song on the album. Like that's what we wanted, a song like that. We have a song like that. So it's like, okay, now we're at the end of the album, we have all these songs. You can't really change. It's not really malleable once you've done it because you kind of like you get to the end and then you can see the picture. And if you want to change anything, it's like a little bit too late. So that was the biggest challenge of like trying to work within those boundaries and still make everything exactly how you want it, still say the message. Like to get the message that we wanted into every song is really hard. Like if you think about those kind of themes that I mentioned, it's like it can the only way you can get them across sometimes is when the lyrics are really like in your face and they really say what you're trying to say. So it's that balance of not being too obvious, but getting the message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in general, did you feel all right with all the whole album, or you missed something, or you think that I could do this in this different way or something like that?
Yeah, there was a few things that we could do differently, but I also feel like we were just following our um kind of gut with what comes natural. So it was like songs like Lost Seasons, I was trying to decide like, do I try to take these chords in like some really new direction, something really fresh that hasn't ever happened before? Um, and then me and RAC started to make something that sounded like indie and kind of indie synth pop song. So we just followed that, rather than saying no and trying to stop ourselves, we just followed what was natural. Um, so yeah, there's things that really could have gone in totally different directions, but we just let them flow. And we're like, oh, well, if you don't like something, just do it differently next time, kind of thing, like next album.
Yeah. In what time of your life you feel that necessity of uh I don't know how to say
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
It
No, I
was
think I
like,
know what you mean. Like basically, it was for us for this album, it was around the pandemic. We it kind of changed everything. We'd already been working on a lot of music, which I'd said in interviews before. We had like this kind of I don't know what even genre you'd call it, but like disco funk kind of focus thing, but with like R&B and a little bit of hip hop and stuff. Like basically if you think about like K Tronada and that song like Slide by Calvin Harris, where it's like it sounds like a Miami Horror kind of beat musically, but then it had like these vocalists on it that were nobody'd ever really put them together before. He would have like Future, the rapper, on this disco song. So it was like we were just exploring that. And then after like 2 years of doing that, it didn't feel natural. And then we hit COVID pandemic. And that's when it just kind of all came flooding. It was like, wait, what are we doing? Like this doesn't sound like us. What is important in life? And that's what got that concept to come out. It was like, okay, forget like what's happening with trends and just like what are we, what means the most to us. If we were going to make one more album, what would it sound like? And that's kind of how we came up with the concept. Yeah.
Okay, that was a deep conversation, I imagine, with
Mm.
with yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
what I want to do with this project,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
and
And
then put
like
it
not
to
only
work.
just the project, like in your life, like what do you want to say and what's important? And so yeah, I would say like we almost nailed it this album, but we, the cool thing was really just like coming up with this concept and these little boxes to tick, like we want to do this, we want to say this, we want to do that, and getting so close to actually doing it all was really cool. And yeah, like you said, it was supposed to be kind of a deep thing that we were
Okay.
exploring. Yeah.
That sounds pretty good because it feels and it sounds like a very authentic work, a very honest work, talking about the production, talking about the lyrics, about the collaborations, about the topics of the songs.
Hmm.
I love the way that you uh, write and put it in a nice song, that the people really enjoy it. So that's amazing. Finally, we want to know if you had one or two favorite songs of this album that you can recommend to the audience that wants to listen for the first time Miami Horror.
Yeah. So, because we kind of have two sides of the album, there's like always the fun side with the disco, with samples, with funk, and then there's like the more emotional side. That's like something we tend to do. I would pick one from both. I would say that my favorite of the emotional ones is We're All Made of Stars, which is featuring Telenova, and she's got such a beautiful voice, and it really, um, it's a little bit indie synth pop, beach house kind of thing, and um, yeah, it really covered those themes that we're talking about. The lyrics really hit home in that right way. And then for the fun stuff, I think like everyone's favorite for that side is usually Remember, the disco one.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing with us uh, that vision of your work. We really appreciate it because we love your work. As a musician, as a producer, as the mastermind of Miami Horror. We really love your work. We really love to talk with you today. We're so excited to for your comeback in Mexico City. Do you have some dates here in the country or something in mind?
Um, no, we don't have anything booked yet. We keep talking to our agent and our manager, and yeah, there's been things on the cards and things we're going to do ourselves, like maybe our own festival or our own shows and things like that, or we're waiting to do a festival. So yeah, it's just been a lot of back and forth, but we're trying to come as soon as we can figure it out. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for taking your time to talk with us today.
Thank
Congratulations for the new album. Hope to see you soon here playing in Mexico City in a full band show because we know that you do maybe this kind
business.
of DJ sets and stuff like that. But we really loved the live shows. We hope to see you soon here in Mexico City.
Okay, thank you. See you
Thank
soon.
you. Have a good time.
You
Pues
too.
ahí tuvieron a Benjamin Plant, la mente maestra de Miami Horror. Esperamos muy pronto verlos en México. No se los pierdan también a través de toda la cadena Match. Soy Miguel Miranda. Cambio y fuera.